Hello everyone, welcome to the webinar about energy and Kundalini activation and Tantra. I'm super happy to be here, very excited about what is going to happen in the next 90 minutes. And before we start, it would be amazing if you can write in the chat box where you are in the world. I'm in Marbella, Spain, in the Blue Sky studio. This is one of the biggest and best TV corporate studios in Spain. But where are you now? Just leave it in the chat box and I'm going to see your comments from Canada, amazing, Amsterdam, Munich, Hampshire, Vienna, UK, Brighton, beautiful, Germany, Texas, Cambridge, Derby, UK, England, Belgium, Antwerp, Ireland, UK, London, Germany, Manchester, Kerala, India, Minnesota, minus 20 degrees. Oh, Cape Town, Norway, Munich, Germany. Amazing. Welcome, everyone. Welcome to the session today. I'm super excited because what I'm going to be sharing today is the result of the last 12 years of my own experience and what I have studied with different teachers, different gurus, different masters, and also different schools. So I'm super excited to share all of this with you. And what we're going to be seeing today, we're going to talk about energy, what is energy and what is energy work. We're going to be talking also about Kundalini activation, and we will be talking about also Tantra. So what is the difference between Tantra and Kundalini and energy? We're going to do a few practices, and those practices are some of the practices that I do on my daily basis. They are very easy to do, so I'm going to practice with you here, and we are going to do those practices together today. We're going to be also talking about safety and how to be a trauma-informed facilitator and how to do those practices in a trauma-informed way, because there are many practices out there that are too powerful and can be even dangerous. So I'm going to talk about my own experience, what's happened in the past, what I have seen with thousands of students and participants also in our events. And hopefully this information is going to be useful for you as a participant, as a person who is practicing those techniques, but also as a maybe facilitator or a person who wants to become a facilitator. And I'm going to also talk about the two programs that we offer at InnerCamp, the Kundalini activation program, the holosomatic energy, and also the Tantra program as well. So let's start talking about energy. So what is energy? There are many practices about energy work. So we can think, for example, about traditional Chinese medicine. We can think about acupressure. We can think about Taoism, we can think about Hinduism, we can think about pranayama, yoga, we can think about Ayurveda as well. We can think about shamanism, and even shamanism, there are different energy practices, or Reiki. So energy and energy work is not something that became now trendy or is like popular now. So this has been here for thousands of years. Of course, it has been always here. So energy has been always there. But now it's more popular because of social media. On social media, we can see a lot of stuff. We can see many facilitators, many things going on. And now it's more popular. Now we know so many things, but this was there for a very long period of time. And what is energy? Energy can be many different things, but basically for now, for what we are discussing today, energy, when I talk about energy, I'm talking about our life force energy. I'm talking also about our sexual energy. I'm talking about an energy that we all have, an energy that is in nature, an energy that we have inside that we can activate, an energy that can be called in many different ways. It can be called prana, it can be called chi, ki, it can be called in many different ways. We are going to talk about energy today. So energy can be activated in many different ways. So probably many of you are familiar with Reiki. So in Reiki, what we do is we bring our hands and we channel the energy, a cosmic energy, an energy that is very big, is very huge. And what we do is that we support the person, or we support an animal, or we support a group of people. And then what we do is we channel this energy to support, to bring healing to the person or to the group or to the animal. We can even do distance Reiki as well. Or for example, we are talking about acupoints, acupressure. We are looking for points of energy. We are connecting the meridian lines. We are working with meridian lines. And you know, in meridian lines, in traditional Chinese medicine, what they say is that these meridian lines are connected to different organs. And when we are touching different points, or for example, we are putting some needles in those acupoints, we can impact and we can heal, for example, some organs or some diseases, some symptoms in the body. So energy can be used in many different ways and can be facilitated in many different ways. And you know, nowadays there is like more and more about Kundalini activation, and some people are scared about Kundalini activation and about Kundalini energy because we see big reactions. So if you go to social media, you know, you're going to see really crazy stuff around Kundalini energy. So I want to explain everything about energy. But before we go to Kundalini activation and before we talk about those practices, I want to practice one very simple exercise with you. And this is a very simple exercise where we can feel our energy. So what I'm going to invite is to find a comfortable seated position. Maybe you want to close your eyes, or maybe you want to keep them open. And what we are going to do is we are going to rub the palms, we are going to rub the hands, and we are going to stay here for a few seconds rubbing the palms. And it is so nice to see you all on the screen because I can see you all. And yeah, thank you. Thanks to these guys that I can see in big your faces. So we are going to rub the palms 20 more seconds. So close your eyes now. And stay there, rubbing your palms, stronger if you can, stronger. Maybe you can feel the warmth. You can feel what you are creating with your hands, the more seconds. And keep breathing in through the nose, out through the mouth. And now bring your hands to your heart center in the middle of your chest. And here with your eyes closed, inhale through the nose, exhale through the mouth. In, out, in, out, and feel the sensations in your heart, feel the sensations in your chest. Again, we are going to rub the palms, 20 more seconds, and we are going to be at the same time inhaling through the nose, exhaling through the mouth. 10 more seconds. 5 more seconds. Now separate them just a little bit and feel the sensations between your hands. Just separate them like 3-4 centimeters and feel the energy between your hands. What do you feel now? Be aware of the sensations. Feel this energy, this powerful energy. And again, bringing your hands, one hand on your lower belly, one hand on your chest, on your heart center. And here, inhale through the nose, exhale through the mouth. 5 more deep breaths in. In. 3 more deep breaths in. In. In, one more breath. And close your eyes, keep your eyes closed, and now feel the sensations, natural breath. And feel your heart, feel your lower belly, and connect maybe to your womb, to your lower belly, and stay there, connecting these two powerful energy centers, and feel the sensations. There is no need to understand, there is no need to do anything, simply feel yourself, feel your heart, feel your lower belly. And maybe you can feel some sensations, maybe you can feel something going on, maybe you can feel peace. Maybe it's hard for you because your mind is blocking you. So simply bring awareness to this part of you, to your body. And slowly opening your eyes and coming back to a natural breath. And this was very subtle, and it's normal that maybe some of you find it challenging. Maybe you have many thoughts, many things are happening, or it's hard for you. You feel like a blockage in your heart. You feel a blockage in your lower belly. So this is all part of the process. We're not here to be perfect, to have a mystical experience the first time. We're just practicing, we are feeling things, okay? So if you go to any of these old ancient practices, those practices are very powerful. And it's like meditation. Meditation can take years and years of practice in order to feel like a big shift. So it's not always so easy. So this is why Kundalini and Kundalini work plays a more important role. When we do Kundalini activation practices, we can activate this powerful energy. And what is Kundalini energy? Kundalini energy is a powerful energy that is at the base of the spine. And then when we activate it, we can feel it and we can raise it up to the upper parts of the body. We can raise it for example, to the solar plexus, and we connect to our empowerment. We can raise it to the heart center so that we feel more love. We become more vulnerable. We can raise it to the throat, and then we feel like more power to speak out, to say yes, to say no, to set boundaries as well. Or we can raise it to the third eye chakra, then we connect more to our intuition, or we raise it to the crown, and then we feel like the connection to something bigger than ourselves. The thing with Kundalini is that it's very powerful, and then there are many different practices to raise this energy. When this energy is raised in a very intense way, without control, without being trauma-informed, this can be dangerous because it might be too much. And I'm going to talk later about the dangers of using Kundalini activation and activating your Kundalini in a way that is too much and you are not ready for. But when you do this softly, you can feel so much. There are practices, for example, Kundalini yoga, where you do those practices for many years, and then you can start raising this energy, and you feel every day more and more and more. And I will talk later also about Kundalini, how you can activate it, because there are many different paths. And actually, this is something not new. So let me go to this slide where I'm going to show you here a diagram of the history of Kundalini and energy work. So this is very, very interesting because you can see that already, like almost 3,000 years ago, there were mentions of energy in the Hinduism texts, in the Upanishads. So they were already talking about energy. So energy, as I said, is not something that was created recently and now is like a new practice. So they already talk about energy. They didn't talk 3,000 years ago about Kundalini activation yet, okay? Then later on, like 2,200 years ago, more or less, they started to talk about pranayama and also meditation, the Patanjali Yoga Sutras. Later, let's say 1,400 years ago, they started to talk more about how to activate this energy, how to work with energy, and they talk about energy practices. And we can find this in the Tantric Buddhism texts. And when do we hear about Shaktipat? And what is Shaktipat? So Shaktipat, for all of you who know about Kundalini activation, some of you have heard the word Shaktipat. Shaktipat is the original way of activating your Kundalini. So in the past, years ago, and now also if you go now to India, so if you go to a guru and then you go there to them to activate your Kundalini energy, so what they're going to do normally is a Shaktipat. Shaktipat is the activation of the Kundalini, is the transmission of energy. And if you go to social media, this is not something that normally you're going to find on social media. But if you find original masters and gurus, and I'm not one of them, of course, I'm not a guru or a master, okay? But if you go and you check what they do, it's very powerful. It's super powerful. But these people prepared their students before going to Shaktipat. So they said, before we activate your energy and before I transmit all this energy, you need to do work. And these students spent months and even years preparing the body, doing different practices, meditating, removing blockages, etc., and doing really a lot of introspection in order to activate this powerful energy, because those masters understood and understand that activating the energy can be dangerous. So they only do it with a few people. And those gurus are not people that you can find on social media. They are not there. They are not on internet. You don't go to internet and you book a meeting with them. You cannot find them on social media. Those people are hidden. So it's really, really hard to find a guru like this, a master like this, to receive Shaktipat. And this is really Shaktipat. If you go to social media and you hear someone mentioning Shaktipat, I do Shaktipat, they are not doing Shaktipat. Shaktipat is what the gurus used to do and still do. And then later on, if you go to the Upanishads, to the next texts, like let's say 400, 500 years ago, we can already hear the mention Kundalini, and they talk about Kundalini and about Kundalini energy. Later on, in the 15th century, they talk Swami Vivekananda that came to the West. So he starts talking about Kundalini activation and also chakras, the powerful energy centers. So it's not only the 7 energy centers that we used to think that we have, it's many more. Okay, but he starts talking about how to activate this powerful Kundalini energy and also how to work with the chakras. And I'm sure that most of you know about chakras. Then later on, in the 15th century as well, they start talking as well about Kundalini, about Indian spirituality, also the Hatha Yoga Pradipika texts. Then in Kundalini Yoga, so Yogi Bhajan, that I'm not going to enter in that discussion, but he was accused of sexual abuse. But I'm not talking about what he did. I'm talking about the teachings that he brought in the 60s. He brought Kundalini Yoga. He created Kundalini Yoga. And Kundalini Yoga is an amazing practice. I'm sure that some of you, maybe you can write in the chat box yes, or you can raise your hand if you know about Kundalini Yoga. I'm sure that some of you know. Yes, I'm seeing the cameras and I see some of you know about Kundalini Yoga. So Kundalini Yoga practices are really amazing, and little by little with those practices, you can activate your energy and your Kundalini energy. So it's not like the typical Hatha Yoga or the yoga that we know, like it's like mainstream. It's a yoga that is combined with Kundalini practices, energy practices, breathing. It's very powerful. Then the type of Kundalini energy and activation that we are now more seeing on social media came more or less from a person called P. Villadarsa. This is a very humble guy from the Philippines, and in the early 2000s, he had an experience. He was living in solitude, and then he had an experience with Kundalini energy. And then he created what he calls the inner dance. And you have probably heard about inner dance. So this is his style of activating the Kundalini energy. One of his students was Venant Wong, and probably some of you know Venant Wong and know Cap. Cap, probably, I would say that Cap was the one that, or the school that made the best marketing, and thanks to Cap and thanks to Venant, we know about Kundalini activation and we know about all these practices, and we see so many videos. So they were the guys who really brought this to social media, and they created a really great marketing, and they talk about Kundalini activation. And thanks to Venant Wong, so there are many CAP facilitators and Kundalini activation facilitators out there. But Venant Wong studied with Pil Villadarsa actually. So what he studied is coming from Pil Villadarsa. And then in the diagram that you can see there, you can see also InnerCamp. InnerCamp came in 2018. So InnerCamp is 7 years old and almost 8 years old. And for example, in my own experience with Kundalini activation, I really didn't, before creating InnerCamp and before my own experiences, I didn't have experience with Pil Villadarsa or Venant Wong. But my own first experience with Kundalini activation happened in 2014. In 2014, I can tell you, I was living in Japan and I was doing Kundalini activation. So I didn't know so much about Kundalini, and I was doing breathwork. I loved breathwork. I loved different bodywork practices, and I was supporting myself to raise this powerful Kundalini energy. And I remember one night, it was one evening, I was in Japan in my small apartment, because everything is small in Japan, and I was activating a lot of Kundalini energy. This experience was amazing. And I felt like, wow, this is working. And I feel this energy. And I was feeling like a lot of fire. It was fire. It was like a water. It was like a river of water, and very deep, very profound. And I felt so much. I felt my whole body with this energy. I saw colors. I had like mystical visions. I got insights. And this was so powerful. But I can tell you that this was very, very dangerous, because I had no idea about Kundalini. My body was not prepared. I had not released my blockages, big blockages that I had in my body. I was not ready, and this was overwhelming. This was traumatizing. I remember that night as a really bad night. I was not able to sleep the whole night. I remember trying to go to the shower to try to feel better, and I was almost like falling. This was really terrible, a terrible experience. I don't want to repeat this kind of experience anymore in my life. Later, I understood that Kundalini is something very powerful, and if you don't use it, if you don't activate it in the right way, it can be very, very dangerous. So I want to share this with you, because I don't want you to have the same experience as I had. And I know I can tell you that there are ways that are very trauma-informed, that are really great, and you can raise this energy in the right way and in a healthy way, in a way that is going to be amazing, okay? So what are the potential dangers of Kundalini activation? Here on the slide, I show you a few of them, but I don't want to enter into many details, but I can tell you that some people are having psychological issues when they are doing Kundalini activation without being trauma-informed, when it's too strong for them, when they are overwhelmed. There is also emotional disturbance because they are connecting to many emotions and they don't know what to do with those emotions. There is a lot of physical discomfort and sometimes it's very strong and they need to go to the doctor. There are energy blockages, and sometimes what we see is that people get sick and they get stuck after a Kundalini activation session. And they need a person, they need a facilitator who understands Kundalini in order to remove those blockages, because they're feeling worse than when they came to the session. And why is this happening? This is happening because when we are talking about Kundalini activation, there are two paths. One path is when you work with yourself, when you do the practices to yourself. And for example, Kundalini yoga is a perfect example of doing the practices with yourself. You breathe, you do different things, you do different mudras, you work with your hands, with your arms, you're doing different postures. And then you activating this energy slowly, very slowly. I would say it's very slow, but it's under control. And the other path is guru initiated. Is when one person is transmitting to you, is doing the transmission of the energy, and it's like pushing you to raise this energy. What happened here, and this diagram is very important, what you are seeing here, and they're going to show you, the guys are going to show you here, is that, you know, we have something that is called the window of tolerance. Window of tolerance is how much resilience you have. So how much you can tolerate. When you are, imagine that something's happening and you are in a stressful situation or you're connecting to emotions, so how much can you tolerate? Every person is different. The problem is that when you are in an environment where the guru, let's say, or the facilitator doesn't know about the nervous system, they don't know about the science of your body, of the nervous system, they don't know about psychology, what they do is they activate you even more, even more, even more, even more, even more, and then they can take you into a freeze state where you are disassociating, where you can traumatize yourself, where you can re-traumatize yourself, where you are stuck. Okay, and very often what is happening as well, as you see in the corner, is that very often in those sessions they are doing a demo at the beginning, and in this demo they say, guys, this is what normally happens in a Kundalini activation session. So you see that, and then you basically repeat the same effects, the same what is happening to the models, and this is adjustability. So this is against the process. This is against healing. So we don't want that. We don't want to copy, because, you know, if you are copying just the reactions of someone else, there's nothing that is going to happen. Also, one of the problems is the spiritual bypassing. Some people coming to those practices are going to start thinking that it's not a trauma, or it's not a shadow, it's energy, it's Mercury retrograde, or it's something else. So they find excuses and they blame energy, or they blame different things or something external, and they don't face their own shadows. For us, it's very important at InnerCamp, and also for me, is that you face your own shadows. So it's not possible to become a mystical person or a spiritual person if you are not facing your shadows. If you're just trying to fly all the time, and I see people coming to those Kundalini activation sessions, and they are flying all the time. They are super mystical, they are very spiritual, but as soon as there is something going on, as soon as they go to the supermarket and they need to wait in a line, or they go to visit the family and they get super triggered, or there is like a traffic jam and they get very triggered. Sorry, but I mean, this is human. It's human to get triggered. So you don't need to be spiritual all the time. You don't need to be mystical all the time. And it's normal that you get triggered. So in order to grow, in order to transform your life, in order to heal, you need to face your shadows. And this is something that we do in Tantra. Tantra is about facing your shadows. It's about saying, hey, I'm human, and it's okay to be human. It's okay to face my stuff. It's okay to understand that, hey, this is not working for me, or I feel bad about that, or I have a trauma from my childhood. I'm still working on that trauma. So this is the way we approach Kundalini activation when we facilitate Kundalini activation in our workshops. Another problem is the ego mind. So many of these people come in to the Kundalini activation sessions, it's not the body, it's the ego. They want to feel more and more. And very often I see people, as soon as they start the journey, the session, the workshop, they start moving in ways that are remembered, that are coming from the mind. And this is not really, it's more performance. It's not really happening in the body. So it's not energy, it's not trauma response, it's more your mind taking over. And of course, if you try to heal, if you try to activate your Kundalini energy, you don't need to use your mind. So it should be coming automatically, okay? There is like a thin line sometimes between performance and really happening to you, okay? And what is Tantra? Tantra is a very beautiful practice, and Tantra has been with us for many, many years. And Tantra, many people think that Tantra is about sexuality. And I can tell you that sexuality is 5% of Tantra. The rest is many beautiful practices. For me, Tantra is a lifestyle. For me, Tantra, I tell you, I'm not a guru. I'm not the most enlightened person. I'm just a normal human being who has, in the last 12 years, learned a lot about breathwork, bodywork, somatics, Tantra, and different practices, and I want to share with all of you, okay? But Tantra, for me, is a reference. It's a lifestyle. For example, one of the principles of Tantra is consecration, is to see everything as sacred. For example, if you have a cup of tea in front of you, and then you grab your cup of tea, and you enjoy this moment, mindful drinking, mindful eating, or just to be in the present moment, this is consecration. This is something that we do in Tantra. Or transfiguration. Transfiguration is to see the person in front of you, it can be your partner or someone else, and you see the god or goddess in front of you, and you see the sacredness of the person in front of you. Or you look at the mirror and you see yourself as someone that is a god, a goddess. You see the divinity in yourself. You see the divinity in the person next to you or in front of you. Of course, it doesn't always work, so you need to come back to the reference. Oh yeah, I'm trying to practice this transfiguration, consecration. So Tantra is a lifestyle. It's about connecting to your energy. It's also about connecting to Mother Earth. It's about connecting to animals. It's about respect for the human being, respect for all the alive beings, for Mother Earth as well. It's about connecting to your shadows. And something super interesting and something why I really love Tantra is that in Tantra, you are not denying your pleasure or your desires. You're not, for example, if you ask a monk, if they're thinking about a desire, imagine that a monk wants to eat chocolate, okay? And they have the bar of chocolate in front of them. And they are thinking about this chocolate and they want to eat it. And what they would do is to think, okay, I'm going to avoid that. I'm going to forget about chocolate. I'm going to remove the chocolate. I'm going to meditate. I'm going to focus on myself and just keep trying to forget about chocolate. In Tantra, what we do, we eat the chocolate. And then imagine that, those people who just get the Nutella jar, or they just need to eat the whole bar of chocolate, or they start 1 kilo of ice cream and they finish it in one round with Netflix. So in Tantra, we will say, do it. But at the same time, you're going to be conscious and you're going to ask yourself, who am I? Why do I need to eat the whole chocolate, the whole bar of chocolate? Why do I need to eat the whole kilo of ice cream? So this is what we do in Tantra. In Tantra, we use the desire and we use the pleasure to understand ourselves. It's the same with a partner. It's the same with sexuality. In Tantra, what we do is we say yes to sexuality. And then through sexuality, there are different paths in Tantra, paths where there is no sexuality at all. But mainly in Tantra, we use sexuality as a tool to forgive, to love the person in front of us, to love our partner, to work with polarity. So polarity, I'm talking about masculine, feminine energy, and I'm not talking about men and women. It can be two men, it can be two women, it can be non-binary, so whoever. But I'm talking about different energies. And when you connect to this energy, when you connect to a different energy in front of you, is when you can heal shadows, when you can heal distortions of energy, when you can come back to a state of purity, even for a few seconds. But this is what we try to do in Tantra. This is the target of Tantra, using the pleasure and the desire and just being human. You don't need to be someone else. You don't need to really force yourself or push yourself to be someone else. This is why I really love Tantra. So I think it's time for a practice because, yeah, I'm talking a lot and then you might fall asleep. So I'm going to show you a practice that is very powerful, where we're going to combine some body work. We're going to combine some breathing as well. And then we want to connect to the heart. So what we are going to be doing is we are going to inhale through the nose and we're going to exhale through the mouth. And at the same time, we're going to tap on the chest. It can be with the fingers, it can be with the palms, it can be with the knuckles, but very strong. What we want to do is to remove any blockages from the heart, okay? So let's close the eyes. Let's find a comfortable position in here. Let's start. In through the nose, out through the mouth. Tapping on your chest. It can be with your fingers, with your palms, and stay there. Stay there, 30 more seconds, in through the nose, out through the mouth. Stronger breath, tapping on your chest. We're almost there, 15 more seconds. 10 more seconds, keep breathing. One more breath. Now placing your hands on your heart center, eyes closed, and breathe naturally, eyes closed. And feel the sensations. Maybe you feel the tingling sensations in your hands, in your arms, in your chest. Feeling your chest, feeling your heart, and listen to your heart. Try not to use your mind, simply connect to your heart. This is a powerful energy center. So connect to this place of you and listen. Maybe in this state you can receive a message, maybe you can hear something, maybe you can understand something about your heart, about vulnerability, about love, about forgiveness. So feel your heart here for a few seconds. In, out. In, out. One more breath. In, out. And coming back, maybe shaking your hands, shaking your arms, and coming back. Amazing. And yeah, the thing is that, you know, some of us have anxiety or we are stressed in life, and then we go to the doctor and the doctor is telling us, oh, you need some medication, or you need these tablets, or something else. It's like they try to somehow heal the superficial layer and the symptoms, but very deep inside, we don't need the tablets, we don't need the medication. Of course, sometimes yes. I'm not saying that we don't need the medical system, we need it. But sometimes it's about connecting to your heart. Sometimes it's about feeling your heart. Sometimes it's about this tapping that we did for 1 minute. It's really amazing to remove any blockages. Of course, if we want more depth, we will need to do it more, or deeper, and we will need to do more practices. But this simple practice that lasted around 2 minutes can be very profound sometimes, okay? So I want to talk about the holosomatic energy sessions, and I want to talk about the differences between our two programs. And I want to also answer any questions about Kundalini, about energy, about Tantra. So really feel free to write in the chat box, because I'm very lucky to have my colleague Anna Maria today here with me. And then she's going to reply your questions, but also I'm going to reply as well here in the session with you. So this way I have here a huge screen, and I can see your comments here. I can see your beautiful faces in front of me. So it's really amazing to see you all here, so I don't feel alone. So, okay. Oh, I see Alberto as well. I see many faces that I know I have met, so I'm super, super happy and honored to be with you guys here. So, holosomatic energy. What is holosomatic? And what is the holosomatic therapy? Holosomatic is our brand. And like 2-3 years ago, the thing is that there were people coming to us and saying, how can I find more of this? How can we find facilitators? And at some point, we realized that, hey, what we are doing is different than what other facilitators out there are doing. So this is why I decided to call it holosomatic. This is our approach. And in holosomatic therapy, we have 3 parts. We have breathwork, we have bodywork, and we have energy. So in energy, on the slide, you can see what we do when we are applying holosomatic energy. One of the things is we work with chakras. So remember that earlier I told you, we don't want to overwhelm the nervous system. So in our case, we will not go directly to a Kundalini activation session. We can do those Kundalini activation sessions that are super powerful. But before we go there, we are going to work on your body. We're going to do different practices to prepare you before you are ready for the Kundalini activation. So we work with the chakras. We work also with emotional releases, because many people coming to us, they don't need a Kundalini activation. They need to remove blockages. They need to work on emotions. They need to release traumas and stuff that is there before they raise any Kundalini energy. Because raising the Kundalini energy, imagine that you have a river with some certain capacity. You have a small river and full of water. And Kundalini energy, activation of the Kundalini energy without being prepared is to put maybe double water, triple water, and then to try to make it work. But you know what? It's going to flat, it's going to be a mess. So it's the same with Kundalini activation. When we go directly to the Kundalini activation, it can be overwhelming for the person. So what we do, emotional releases, we remove any blockages, we work with emotions, we do different practices to work on emotions. Tantric de-armoring, this is a very powerful practice. It's like a physical and energetic massage where we are checking the whole body and removing any blockages so that the energy later can flow better. Okay, and here we talk about meridian lines, we talk about acupoints as well. So we are working with the whole body and going point by point to remove what is blocking the body. We also use Tantric breathwork. It's a type of breathwork that is going to activate your Kundalini energy in a way that is safe, that is trauma-informed. Because some breathwork styles out there, and some of them we facilitate them at InnerCamp, but some of them are very powerful, are for mystical states. For example, the popular holotropic breathwork. This is very powerful, it's very intense, but it can be overwhelming for some people. The way we do Tantric breathwork is a way that is not so much to have those crazy cathartic results, it's more to activate your energy step by step. And at the same time, you are removing blockages and you are raising your energy. You remove blockages, you raise your energy. We also use energy healing. We work with aura healing, for example. We use different techniques to work with energy. Pineal gland, woman had a healing as well. So we work with we connect these three powerful energy centers of the body. And then before we are ready to go to the Kundalini activation, we prepare those three energy centers. And finally, Kundalini activation and healing. Kundalini activation is something that we teach and is part of our program, but we do it in the way that is trauma-informed and is like safe. So in the next slides, the guys are going to share with you, you can see if you study the holosomatic energy, this is what you can facilitate. So for example, Kundalini activation workshops in groups, one-on-one, in person, online, Tantric de-armoring massage sessions, in one-on-one, in person only, it's not possible online or in groups. Tantric breathwork workshops, online, groups, in person, one-on-one, healing circles for different things like different shadows, different situations, in person, online, in groups. Tantra workshops for couples as well, so that you can support couples in person and online, and also retreats in groups, one-on-one, online, and in person. And I know that some of you are, for example, you are teachers or are coaches or are talk therapists or are really many different things. You have a different background. And the cool thing is that we can integrate what you already know with the holosomatic energy. Some ideas that we see here on the slide. Cacao ceremony plus Kundalini activation. This is, wow, this is crazy. It's so powerful. Yoga and Kundalini activation. Kundalini activation plus ecstatic dance. Kundalini activation plus breathwork, if you are a breathwork facilitator. Reiki plus Tantric de-armoring massage, or yoga plus Tantric de-armoring massage. If you are a coach, a life coach, you can combine it together with Kundalini activation. Because you know, some people come to coaching and at some point, after a few sessions, they don't know, they cannot go deeper. You know, sometimes in coaching or talk therapy, we start creating false memories. We start looking for stuff that is not reachable so easily. And in that moment is when the body plays a very important role. It's when we want to connect to the body, we want to listen to the body, and it's when we want to also work with the Kundalini activation, because when we activate the Kundalini energy, we raise this powerful energy. For example, we have seen cases of CEOs becoming more creative, making better decisions because this energy is like raised, or people who are creative, people who used to do a creative work, so they are more creative and they are connecting to creativity. People who don't find a partner and they say, I'm looking for the love of my life and I don't know why, but nothing works. I don't find the man, the woman, whatever in my life, the love of my life, and it's really hard for me. So when you do these practices, when you remove blockages, when you understand your body, because sometimes, we are working with the mind, and from a mind perspective, we say, I want the love of my life. But then your body is saying, don't trust men, don't trust women, don't trust people. Of course, don't trust because you should not trust because you have a blockage, because you have a trauma. And with this trauma, you should not trust. You should not start a new relationship. What you should do first is to remove that blockage, that trauma. And when you feel ready, when you feel that you are ready for love, is when you can start a new relationship. Or sometimes people just want to change their jobs because they hate the bosses. But then they change the jobs and they go to another company, a new job, and they still hate the job, they hate their bosses because they don't realize that actually this kind of job is not right for them, for example, that they want to do something completely different. So the mind doesn't always have the answers. When we connect to the body, when we listen to the body, when we raise this energy, when this energy is supporting us to feel more, is when we realize that, hey, maybe this is not my environment for me. Maybe this is not the right partner for me. Maybe this is not the job for me. Maybe I need to set boundaries. Maybe I need to say no when someone is asking me to do something that I don't want to do. So you can combine coaching and talk therapy together with the practices that we learn here. And I want to show you this diagram. This diagram is something that is a sample of a session that we do. Here you can see, remember the diagram I showed you earlier where the person has a specific window of tolerance and then some specific resilience, and then we are overwhelming the person. What we do at InnerCamp is we consider the window of tolerance of the person. And you see, we're doing different activities, but then when we feel like the person is disassociating or the person is out of the window of tolerance and then it's overwhelming for them and can traumatize them, then we come back, we go to resourcing. We use something that in psychology we call pendulation. We pendulate between activation, resourcing, activation, resourcing. And something that really we do at InnerCamp is we combine those ancient practices together with science. I myself, I'm an engineer, I studied engineering, I studied also business and economics as well. So for me, I need to understand things. I talk about chakras and I believe in all this stuff and I can feel it. I can feel it already for many years, but I need to understand the science. And for me also, psychology is important. Of course, that talk therapy and psychology, it needs to be needs more progress, and to consider somatics and what we are doing here. But for me, psychology and understanding what we are doing and if we are harming people, this is very important. So what you're going to find at InnerCamp and what we do always at InnerCamp has a very strong science background, because what we are doing needs to be proof that is right for the people, okay? So is what we are doing here, is what in psychology is called pendulation. Another term, and earlier on, I talked to you about spiritual bypassing. People who want to become very mystical and they don't want to face the shadows and they want to become very high. So if you go to those places like, Tulum in Mexico, you go to Bali in Indonesia, you go to Koh Phangan in Thailand, if you go to those places, you're going to see so much spiritual bypassing there. I love them, but there is so much spiritual bypassing. They are not so grounded. So this is what can happen. We need to be grounded. We need to come back to ourselves. We need to connect to our shadows. So if we don't do that, really there's no healing, there's no transformation. So this is what we try to do at InnerCamp. When we talk about Tantra, and actually we created this webinar because we received many emails and messages from people saying, hey guys, what is the difference between your holosomatic energy and your Tantra program? So when we talk about our Tantra program, And one of the big differences is that our holosomatic energy is for 4 months. Our Tantra program is for 10 months. So it's different. What we offer is different. In holosomatic energy, what we do is a very straightforward method that you learn like the different phases, and then you apply all these different phases to activate your Kundalini energy, to remove all your blockages, to activate your chakras and heal your chakras. And then you heal, you transform your life, you become more creative, you open your heart, you become more vulnerable, you love more, you achieve what you want to achieve in your life. In the Tantra program, what we do is something different. What we want to do is to learn a lifestyle. It's more about embodiment. It's about Tantra philosophy and embodiment. It's about polarity and non-duality work. It's about quality relationships. We talk about relationships because there are many things going on around relationships. We talk about conscious touch, about tantric massage. We talk about secret circles, about shadow work, about facing your shadows and working with your shadows. We talk about Tao Tantra, Taoism. We see Tantra from different perspectives. So for us, it's also very important that, we don't follow any lineages. We don't follow any gurus. I'm not a big fan of gurus. I'm not a fan of staying in one lineage. I want to practice everything, and I want to pay attention to everything. Even for this call, what I'm sharing here is the result of my last 12 years of studying, practicing with many different schools and teachers. But don't believe 100%. Do your own research, okay? Because what I'm telling you at the end is somehow also my opinion, okay? So we see woman heart healing in the Tantra program. We see inner child healing because we see very often that the students coming to us, they have issues with their inner child because, in the first years of our lives, and also even before we are born, when we are in a traumatic environment, traumatic situation, those traumas are more difficult to heal. So they're going to stay there longer, and it's harder to heal, and they are harder to release. So this is why it's important to work with the inner child. We heal also sexual energy. We heal masculine and feminine distortions. It's like all these ideas, the system, the culture that long time ago was designed by a few people. So we try to understand it, and we see the impact in our bodies, because very often we are not aware that the system, the political system, the education system, so men don't cry, women should do this, or they should have a baby before this age. All these things, all these limiting beliefs are impacting us. So we try to uncover that and to heal from that. And tantric sexuality. Tantric sexuality is 5% of Tantra, but we also touch that because through sexuality, you can heal, you can transform your life, and you can become even more spiritual through sexuality, not only with a partner, but also with yourself. And Tantra breathwork, this is everything that we combined. So what is the difference when you are using energy work and Kundalini activation or Tantra? So what kind of people are you going to attract? So people who are coming to the energy work or to the Kundalini activation is people who feel blocked, like they feel like there is a blockage, they feel like there's an energetic blockage, they feel stuck. They want like more emotional catharsis. They want to work with Kundalini, with chakras. It's like very more focused on the body, on energy work, on activating this energy, on a more straightforward method to achieve results in their lives. This is what those people want, okay? Basically, people who are coming to Tantra, they look for something different. They look for embodiment. They look for a new lifestyle. They look for a deeper relationship with themselves. It's about healing their relationship with themselves, with other people. It's about intimacy wounds. It's about improving their intimacy. It's about improving sexuality. It's about sacred sexuality. It's about having a tantric lifestyle. It's about those principles that I mentioned earlier, is to put them into practice. This is what we do in Tantra. And this is why our program is for 10 months, the Tantra one, because there are so many things. And, embodying those practices and this lifestyle takes longer. And what are we going to solve? We can solve many different things, but here is like a very summarized list. So with energy work and with Kundalini activation, we can work on energy. So we can solve external energy, people coming with blockages, with anxiety, with depression, stress, people with burnout, people with emotional blockages, people who were not able to cry for many years, people with low energy. So it's a very straightforward method to work with your energy and to improve your life. In Tantra, it's more about relationships, it's more about disconnection, it's more about numbness, it's about feeling yourself, it's more about coming to sensations, it's about using your desires to feel, to learn, it's about intimacy, it's about healing relational traumas, it's about suppressed pleasure as well, and to bring more joy, more pleasure to their lives. And you know that very often we are thinking that pleasure or joy is something to deny. You know, we have all limiting beliefs coming from our parents that we should be productive, maybe, we should be working all the time, we should not enjoy life. And then this is something that we do in Tantra. It's about learning how to enjoy life. It's learning about enjoying your body. It's about learning how to enjoy pleasures. And sometimes some pleasures, you know, are not healthy. And it's okay. In Tantra, we say, it's okay. Try them and see what happens, and try to listen and try to feel why you feel bad about that. So let's go to the next practice, because before we go to safety and trauma, okay? And this is another practice that I really love. And this practice I always facilitate. We facilitate in all our on-site workshops. And it's very simple. What we're going to be doing, we are going to inhale through the nose. We are going to open the hands, the arms like this. So what we try now is to open even more the heart. Why do we want to open the heart? We want to open the heart because we want to become vulnerable. When you become vulnerable, healing can happen, transformation can happen. You can understand yourself. You can feel yourself, okay? So at the same time, we're going to use this kind of breathing in through the nose, out through the mouth, so that we can feel more the body. Through the inhalation, it's about opening, it's about bringing healing to the body. Exhalation is about removing any blockages around your heart and around your body. So exhalation is about releasing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to invite you to make sounds on the exhale. Okay? So let's get started. Let's find a comfortable seated position. Let's close the eyes and let's start. Deep breath. Deeper breath. Deeper breath, 30 more seconds. And 20 more seconds. 10 more seconds. 3 more deep breaths. Fully in, fully out, and hold the breath after exhaling, and bringing your hands to your heart center and hold the breath. Keep the breath hold and connect to your heart. And in this state, connecting again to your heart, feeling the openness of your heart. There is nothing you need to understand. Simply feel yourself. And fully inhale, expand your chest and hold the breath again. And feel the energy in your heart, in your chest. Feel the openness, feel the healing. And exhale with any sound. Fully in, fully out. 2 more deep breaths, fully in, fully out. Fully in, fully out, and stay there for a few seconds, simply feeling yourself, feeling your heart, feeling the sensations. and coming back and opening your eyes. Do you feel the difference after this practice? Do you feel the difference in your head, in your focus, in your energy, in your heart? Raise your hands or say yes. Raise your hands if you feel yes. And we are doing this for 1 or 2 minutes. And we are doing this online. And I'm explaining to you, and then we are rushing and explaining a lot of theories, so you are very focused on what I'm saying, and suddenly we go into the practice and we feel so much. These practices, I can tell you, wow, they can save our lives. I can tell you in the last 12 years, I have been doing so many of these, and this really changed my whole life. I can tell you so many things that happened in my life, so many traumas that I have released, so many different situations that had changed in my life, jobs that I quit because I didn't align with my soul, with my mission, and also toxic environments, toxic relationships, understanding myself, setting boundaries, learning how to say yes, how to say no, feeling love, feeling pleasure, feeling joy, and really being in a state of bliss, in a state that you don't depend on anything. You don't depend on a guru, or a practice or something else. Everything is inside you. Everything we are learning here, everything we are practicing here, everything is within you. You don't need anything outside at all. Everything, all the resources are within you, because you are not broken, because you are not broken system, because you are perfect as you are, and you can heal yourself. You can have an amazing life if you use those practices. And of course, I want to talk, although these practices are really amazing, I want to talk about safety, and I want to talk about being trauma-informed. What is safety? Safety is, for example, we go to a workshop, and then we don't give our consent, and then the facilitator is touching us. This is a problem, because maybe we have received many people in our workshops who were sexually abused, for example, and they say no to be touched. And then if a facilitator is touching them, they are going to re-traumatize them. So safety is very important. So always, if you are becoming a facilitator, or you're doing the practices for yourself, if you're doing the practices for yourself and you're going with a facilitator, check that there is a safe environment and they are trauma-informed. What is trauma-informed? Trauma-informed is about understanding traumas. There are many facilitators out there who don't have a training, or they don't understand the nervous system. They don't know about traumas, and they are creating even more traumas. And this is an issue, because we go to those sessions where people just want us to impress us, and it's like more ego mind. And when it's the ego mind from the facilitator, this is a problem, because it's dangerous. Like, it can be dangerous. Sometimes it's not dangerous because maybe you have a huge resilience, a huge window of tolerance, and then you're going to be okay, and you know how to resource yourself. But there are many people out there who don't know how to resource themselves. It's also the pace that you need. We are all of us in a different pace, in a different stage in our lives. It's not about becoming the most mystical person, or the most spiritual, or the most perfect. This is not why we are here in this journey. We need to really listen to the body and follow our body and our intuition. And it's about grounding. And this is what they said when I go to those places. And I was recently in Thailand, and in my favorite corner of the world. And then I saw the spiritual bypassing, people who are not grounded at all. And this is a problem. If you're not grounded, in Tantra, we talk about masculine, feminine energy. I'm not talking about genders now, but masculine is about groundedness. Feminine energy is about energies, about emotions. It's about connecting to this mystical state. So you need to balance both of them. So if you have a lot of one of them, you are not balanced. You don't have a balanced life. You don't have a healthy life. It cannot be mystical. It's not spiritual. At the same time, there are people who are too grounded and they don't have any mystical experience at all in their lives. There is no spirituality at all. It's the same. They are disconnected from their intuition. They are disconnecting from Mother Earth, from the body, from pleasure. They are probably very often in the minds thinking, and they are controlled by many thoughts, by many all limiting beliefs. So we want to balance both energies. So this is why grounding and both experiences are very important. So what is the right path for you? If you are thinking about studying one of our programs, the holosomatic energy or the Tantra program, if you want a more straightforward method, if you want a method that is like a framework that you apply different stages and then people can transform their lives and they're having very really mystical experiences and transformative experiences, this is more holosomatic energy. If you want to embody a lifestyle and you want to go into a more like a broader spectrum of learning different like philosophies, you want to understand very well Tantra, you want to understand very well shadow work, you want to understand many different teachings. So Tantra is the best program. So in Tantra, you can learn many different things. Like I would say, when I try to compare these two programs, for me, Tantra is like more a university degree where you learn so many different things and you have so much knowledge and wisdom about so many different things that you can help so many people. You can do many different types of workshops. And when you want something that is shorter, is straightforward, and then it's helping many people, and it's proved, really proved, this is the holosomatic energy. And very fast, you can really apply to people, okay? Of course, Tantra, it can be straightforward, and you can apply to people very quickly, and people can feel a lot. But it's different in terms of embodiment, because you need to more time to embody the practices. So these are the main differences of both programs. So what I can tell you that after the certification, and if you, I know that some of you have studied already with InnerCamp, but you know that with InnerCamp, we give you always support. There is always mentoring. There is always community. There are mentoring calls. There is a community. We have a counselor that is supporting you. Our mission is not to sell one program and then, okay, goodbye, so we are done. This is not our mission. Our mission is to create the best facilitator. So that when I say best, I'm not using my command, but we want to create really great facilitators that can support people in a trauma-informed way, and they are really great, and people are coming back. And it's not, you know, in the past I went to some talk therapy and coaching programs as well, and I worked with therapists and with coaches, and I still work, of course, because I believe that we need to work our lifelong with facilitators. But in the past, I remember going to those people and then having to sign a contract of going at least to 5-10 sessions. With our methods, you don't need to, your clients don't need to sign a contract. Why? Because the method is so powerful and is so proved that people will come back without really signing a contract. I don't like the idea of signing a contract and then you push people to come back to a session that they really don't feel like it's working. So my target and my mission is to spread the holosomatic therapy, is to spread what we are doing, is to empower you to become an amazing and efficient and effective facilitator so that you can help. And you know, there are facilitators who started with us in 2019, in 2020, and they are still coming to the community and they are asking questions, and we are supporting them, and we answer the questions, and we are there to support them. Okay, so my target is to support you as much as we can, of course, to empower you and to create your business and to become a really great facilitator. This is our plan. So if you have any questions, it would be amazing to receive your questions. I have seen a few things, and thank you so much for Anna Maria for your support. Oh yeah, thank you, Christina. You were in Manchester. Yeah, thank you so much. It was a very powerful experience there. So if you have any questions, please feel free to write in the chat box. I'm super happy to answer questions, to share with you, to share my own experience, to share about Kundalini, to share about energy work, about Tantra. So please go ahead and ask any questions. So Christina is asking about where to learn about chakras. So for example, in our holosomatic energy and our Tantra program, we learn about chakras. So chakras is an important element. Chakras, as I said earlier, so we have 7 main chakras, but actually we have more than 100. Actually, we have many. And one part of the healing is to work with chakras. So when we activate this powerful Kundalini energy, we raise this energy to the upper chakras. So for example, I remember a long time ago, one of my problems was with my throat. My throat chakra was blocked. And what happened? I was sick very often. Sometimes I got sick and I was not aphonic. I was not able to speak. And I spent like days not being able to speak. And it was really hard for me to say no. It was really hard for me to say yes. It was very hard for me to set boundaries. And this happened before I started my own journey. And at some point when I started my own journey, I realized that my throat chakra was blocked. So I was, because of traumas from the past, from my childhood, and I know exactly what's happened. I know exactly what's happened. My throat chakra was blocked. And there are people coming to us and saying, you know, I'm shy. This is why my voice, I cannot yell. I'm doing this practice and I cannot yell. And very often there's a blockage, a huge blockage around the throat. And, you know, people who are using a scarf all the time, the whole year, they're using a scarf, it's summer, and still they have a scarf around the neck. And it's like, I'm going to get sick very, very easily if I don't use the scarf. So very often those people have a huge blockage around the throat, and they don't know what to do. They just protect themselves. They drink a lot of ginger tea and the scarf all the time. They protect themselves so much, but as soon as the scarf is not there, they get sick. And it can be a blockage, okay? So, yeah, I appreciate your questions. Is it possible to activate Kundalini energy through Kundalini dynamic meditation? Or is it only a preparation of the body by shaking and dancing? There are many different ways, Nico, to activate your Kundalini energy. You can go, for example, to Kundalini yoga, and then slowly you can activate your Kundalini yoga. So for years, you're going to do many different practices and you will be able to activate it. You can go to India and then you can find a guru, and then they're going to give you many exercises, many things, a lot of work that you need to do. And at some point, they can do Shaktipat to you. After months or years, they can do Shaktipat. There are practices that are dangerous out there. You can go there. And then if you are very resilient, maybe it's going to work, okay? But if there are any blockages, traumas, etc., it can be overwhelming, and then you can harm yourself, okay? The way we offer is a way where we use ancient practices and we use also science at the same time. I like science, guys. I like psychology, I like science. So this is important for me. So I'm not going to facilitate something that is harmful for you. So what we do at InnerCamp, we combine both of them. And also we have psychologists at the team, in the team as well. So proving and auditing that what we are doing is right for you, okay? So we do it in a way that is healthy, in a way that is trauma-informed, and it's not too much for you. This is the way we do it. But of course, there are so many different ways out there. Many, many different ways. You could also go to YouTube, and then there are many videos about how to activate your Kundalini energy. You can spend months and years to learn how to activate. And if you're unlucky, how, like I was many years ago when I was living in Japan, and then suddenly I activated the energy in a way that was not healthy, then you're going to have a bad experience. But what I'm trying here to tell you is that there are ways that are safe, okay? And the way we do it is safe, okay? Okay. There is, I had the hardest time being able to shout out at the workshop, and my throat has been sick since that, okay? Yes, interesting, okay? Interesting, so it's good. So when we come to those workshops, it's not about being perfect. You know, sometimes it's the ego mind that we want to be perfect, we want to heal all our traumas. It's not possible to heal all your traumas in one session, in one day. It's not possible. We are humans, and the human body doesn't work like that. Sorry, but no one in the world can heal all the traumas in one session, in one day. The thing is that when we come to those workshops, to those events, we feel things. And then when we feel those things, the body's talking to us. The body's telling us, like in your case, Christina, there is something going in your throat. And then you need to work with your throat, okay? Wilcam is asking, what is the biggest confusion or challenge you have faced when trying to decide between working with energy practices versus Tantra in your own life or work? So for me, I use both of them. So Tantra for me is a reference, it's a lifestyle. Sometimes I get confused. I can tell you, sometimes I work a lot and I get lost. And sometimes I'm thinking, what am I doing with my life? So this is not the life that I want for myself. This is not the life I want for my family. It's not healthy. And then I remember Tantra, and I remember the principles of Tantra, and I come back to Tantra. So for me, Tantra is a reference, it's embodiment. So I have embodied for all these years the Tantra practices. And at some point when I know that something is wrong in my life, I come back to that. Or it's in my relationship with my wife as well, or with my kid as well. So I'm embodying those practices. So Tantra for me is a lifestyle that I try to come back. is not 100% there because I'm human. We are all humans. And Kundalini activation and holosomatic energy is a straightforward method to achieve things. When I say, you know what, I feel like I have a blockage in my life. So I walk through the holosomatic energy method, and I know that things are going to happen. I'm going to be able to release things. I'm going to be able to feel, to understand things. And it's a straightforward method where I can heal my body, where I can transform, where I can feel more creative, where I can, for example, imagine that I feel stuck in my job, in my life. I feel not creative. So holosomatic energy can help me to connect more to this creativity. Because when I'm raising my Kundalini energy, this energy, I can connect to, for example, I can connect to my second chakra, to the sacral chakra, related to sexuality, to creativity. And then I can open this energy center, and then I'm becoming more creative, for example. It's a very good question. And this is a very long question, Trintaj. I'm going to try to read very quickly. Yeah, so there are always traumas. She's asking about how do you take care of yourself? You do the certification, you study. How do you take care of yourself? This is a very good question. The thing is, in our programs, in all the programs we do, in the facilitator programs, 50% of the program is about healing yourself. So if you join the holosomatic energy or the Tantra, any of them, 50% is about healing yourself. It's transforming yourself. It's understanding your traumas, your blockages. Of course, after the 50% of the program, after doing all this self-healing, you're not going to be trauma-free. I tell you, I'm not trauma-free. I don't want to be trauma-free because actually it's impossible. I know I have my blockages. I know I have my shadows. And I'm working on them. I know that in 10 years, I will have other traumas, other shadows, other blockages. I will get triggered because of different things. But I know how to manage the situation. I know how not to bring this to my clients. So if I'm working with a client in a one-on-one session, in a group session, I know how not to be influenced by my own shadows, by my own traumas, and how not to traumatize people. We learn a lot about trauma-informed facilitation. We learn how to avoid people getting overwhelmed. So this is going to be super clear. When you study the second part, the second 50% of the program, you are going to understand all the signs when a person is disassociating, when a person is going to freeze, when a person is re-traumatizing themselves, how to touch in the right way so that they are not traumatized, they are not feeling that it's an invasive touch. So all of this is going to be learned in the program, in both programs. Very good question. Yeah, Sylvia, thank you for sharing. Birmingham, yes, it's weird. First time is weird when you go to one of these workshops. You feel so many things going on. How many sessions should we have? It depends. I can tell you, I studied 12 years ago. When I studied 12 years ago, I was doing so many sessions to myself. I was trying many different things. I tried also Kundalini activation to myself, and without really understanding very well, I had a very bad experience. This is why at the beginning of your journey, it's good that you work with a facilitator, or if you are here with us, you work with us, with our teachers, and then you are going to do many different practices, and you're going to understand yourself. You're going to understand your window of tolerance. Once you understand your window of tolerance, once you know how to ground yourself, how to resource yourself. Resourcing is the fact of coming from activation, when you are activating too much your nervous system, and then your sympathetic nervous system is there, and then you might go into freeze, even into freeze. You know how to ground yourself, how to come back to safety. So after a few sessions and after our self-healing module, you are going to learn what is good and what is right for you. Okay, so how many sessions? In my case, when I studied, I did many sessions because I love this work. At the beginning, I can tell you that it feels weird. It feels hard. It's a hard work. Sometimes you need to face your shadows, your traumas, your blockages. Sometimes you are crying. Sometimes you need to yell. Sometimes it's not nice. The self-development journey is not nice. You know, those social media posts when you see that, hey, introspection and self-development is not always a nice journey all the time. It's not perfect. So there are ups and downs, of course. But after a few sessions, when you understand the method, when you understand your nervous system, when you understand yourself, in that moment, you know what is going on. You can do the practices to yourself, and you know when it's too much, when I should continue, when I should stop, when I should go always slower, when I can go in a more intense way. So you can regulate yourself all the time. So we learn those practices to increase the window of tolerance so that we increase how much we can tolerate, and also we increase our resilience. So we become more resilient, okay? Becoming more resilient is not trauma-free, it's not to heal 100%, it's more about being able to smoothly going from sympathetic to parasympathetic, from a state of activation of what is going on to a state of I'm okay, I am safe, everything is fine, okay? So you can learn how to do it. Life, oh yes, 2026, we have some events happening. So we have a theater event that is going to happen in London. It's going to be for 5 hours. We're going to be seated. It's going to be an amazing experience. It's a new format. We have never tried before. And then we're going to be doing a few cities in Europe and the UK as well. This is going to happen in March. And we have already the dates on the website. So you can see the dates on the website. And we're going to have also a city retreat in Brighton, beginning of May. This is what we have at the moment. In terms of trainings, the facilitator trainings, we have 2 formats. We have full online, 100% online, and we have also hybrid. Hybrid means 5 days in person and then 4 months online. Both of them are very efficient. Both of them work very well. If you have the chance to meet us in person, it's always a little bit better because you can feel, you can practice with yourself. But online is also very powerful. How do you know you have activated Kundalini? You know, when you go to Kundalini activation sessions, many things can happen. For example, some people go to those Kundalini activation sessions and they start shaking the body, they feel things, they cry, they yell, the body's moving in this way. What is happening? Is this Kundalini? Is this something else? There are many things that are happening actually. If your body is not ready, probably it's not Kundalini activation. If you have not done so much introspection, self-development, it's not Kundalini activation. Very often it's trauma response, okay? It's trauma release. Shaking is a state of trauma release. So imagine an animal, a dog, if you have a dog, if you have a pet, when they are in a traumatic situation, environment, imagine, I can now imagine my dog, Osho, and my dog, when he is outside and then he's meeting another dog and the other dog is barking at him, normally he's very nice, he's very sweet, and he's not barking to other dogs. But when he's barked, he feels stressed, and then when the other dog is leaving, he starts shaking, and then he's fine. And there is no trauma. He's not saying, oh, I'm traumatized because the other dog was barking at me. He's not saying that. He's trauma-free. He's not having any trauma. There are cases where dogs, imagine that they are in a jail for a long period of time, they're going to be traumatized because they don't have the capability to release the trauma, okay? But they know how to release trauma. What is happening very often in those sessions is that we are just releasing trauma. Very often it's just life force energy, it's just any kind of energy. Sometimes it's emotions, that we are connecting to emotions and we are feeling emotions. Sometimes it's the energy of the room, it's the energy of other people, so that can influence. So it's not always Kundalini energy. So you are going to know when you are feeling the Kundalini energy. So it's very subtle. So at the beginning, in your first sessions, probably more often it's going to be trauma response, trauma release, blockages that you are removing. Is your body just responding? Is your body just readjusting, realigning? This is what is happening in the sessions. And at some point, you will feel the energy. And the energy is going to be very subtle. The energy is going to feel like it's coming from the base of the spine. Sometimes it's going to feel like light. Sometimes it's like fire. And you feel the openness in your body. And you feel like it's reaching deeper, like up the upper parts of your body. And sometimes it depends. Every person is different. Sometimes people feel like the chakras getting activated, are opening and expanding. And then you feel this energy, and suddenly you feel like the connection to something bigger than yourself. And you know that, wow, this is a powerful energy. This might be Kundalini energy. Sometimes our ego mind wants to know everything. Is this Kundalini? Is this trauma release? Is this trauma response? Is this an emotion from another person in the room? Is this because we don't need to know? This is not the target. The target is not to know everything, because you cannot know. First of all, you cannot know. And second, it's not going to help you in your healing journey. okay? Because sometimes we create labels, and these labels are wrong. We go to another session, and we feel different things. And, oh, wow, I thought I had a trauma, a blockage in my heart. But then suddenly I know that it's not my heart, it's my womb. I have a trauma in my womb. Okay, now I understand. I go into a deeper layer. Okay, so every session is going to go deeper, deeper, and deeper, and deeper. Very nice questions, all of you. What is the difference? Unlock your full potential and holosomatic bodywork. It's different. Unlock your full potential is a program for self-healing only. It's for yourself. It's 8 weeks. This one is starting in February, and then you're going to do breathwork, bodywork, energy activation. Many different things are going to happen in that program, but it is only for you. You are not becoming a facilitator. We don't teach how to become a facilitator. Holosomatic bodywork is a facilitator program. So the facilitator trainings, you become a facilitator. Here in Europe, we call them therapists. In the USA and some regions of Canada, you cannot use the word therapist. You call yourself practitioner or facilitator. But the facilitator programs, holosomatic breathwork, holosomatic bodywork, holosomatic energy, and Tantra, all of them, you become a facilitator. You learn how to facilitate. Unlock your full potential is for yourself only. I see Ana Maria is responding very well to those questions. Thank you, Ana Maria. You're amazing. And I see here your beautiful smile. Thank you so much. This is much better. I had a Kundalini activation through Shakti, but without knowing anything of Kundalini. This resulted in making huge changes in my life. I'm not going to India to do Kundalini yoga training. Let's tell us more about Kundalini and what has happened to me. I think you said this is a gentle and very safe way. Is that right? Kundalini yoga, you can do it in any place. There are many Kundalini yoga schools and facilitators they are not in India, they are in India, but also in any country. And then you can do, these are very soft, gentle practices. And then it's a practice that you need to do almost on a daily basis. And then you do many different practices, you feel different things. It's also for your body, you use breath work, you use energy work, and the journey is very long. So it's like combining yoga together with energy work and Kundalini work. And the process is very long, okay? If you go, for example, to holosomatic energy, you can go in a few workshops, you can activate this Kundalini energy, and it's going to be more straightforward. It's going to be much faster. Still, what is the difference? You say, maybe you have the question, what is the difference between you guys and other Kundalini activation schools? I have studied a few Kundalini activation courses out there, and something that is not so great is that those Kundalini activation trainings are for 4 or 5 days or 6 days only, and that's all. This is a problem because in this short period of time you cannot learn everything about the nervous system. You cannot learn about psychology. You cannot learn how to avoid disassociation. You cannot learn how to avoid someone getting harmed and also overwhelmed. So a training, a red flag, if you want to choose a school, is that the training is only for 4, 5, 6 days. At least spend 3 months with a school, learning all the science, psychology, how to do it in a trauma-informed way. Always look for the trauma-informed word as well. So everything that is done, because we are working with people with the traumas. You cannot imagine if you are coming to one of our on-site workshops, we have hundreds of people. You cannot imagine everything going on in these spaces. There are many traumas, many blockages coming up, and you need to know how to deal with that. If you study for 4, 5, 6 days, you don't know how to bring people back, and this can be very dangerous. So if you take this seriously, look for a training that is at least for 3 months, and also is trauma-informed. You learn about the nervous system, and you learn how to deal with people, and you learn about psychology as well, okay? Okay, Sylvia's asking, I have many blocked traumas, blockages, and I want to release them to feel free. What can I do? Come to one of our programs, do one of our programs. You can do many things going on. I mean, in YouTube, there are many videos. Nowadays, YouTube is full of videos of breathwork, bodywork, activations, different things. Sometimes it's not safe, and sometimes it's not controlled, okay? So look for a program where there is safety, where you go step by step, where you just don't go to YouTube and then you do things that you don't know if you're ready for that. As I mentioned, your window of tolerance might be smaller or bigger. If your window of tolerance is smaller, then one of these practices can be dangerous, okay? So at the beginning, I highly recommend you to look for a place that is trauma-informed and they are helping you until you can control yourself, okay? Mark is asking, as an add-on for life coaches, would you rather recommend the Tantra training or the holosomatic bodywork or energy training? Yeah, very good. Another very good question. So as a life coach, bodywork, the holosomatic bodywork is a really great combination. Holosomatic bodywork, because what we do with the holosomatic bodywork is we connect to the body, we feel the body, and we remove blockages from the body. There is no this mystical component. If you, holosomatic energy and Tantra is if you want to work in the mystical realm, if you want to go into spirituality, mystical stuff, and then connecting to this cosmic energy, etc. If you feel like this is my path, holosomatic energy and Tantra is a better fit. If you say, no, I want to work like from a more scientific perspective, I want to understand the body, I want to support them when they are blocked in their heads and coming back to the body, holosomatic body work is a very powerful method where you can remove blockages from your body, you can understand, and you can, it's like a method where you are going to explore your body, you're going to remove what is blocking you, and then you are going to improve your life, okay? So holosomatic bodywork can be a very good option. If you feel like, no, I want to go into a more mystical path, if you want to go into a more straightforward method, and very fast, and very powerful, and very strong, holosomatic energy. If you feel like, no, I want to have many more sessions, coaching sessions, and then I want to combine, for example, coaching plus shadow work, coaching plus, for example, inner child work, coaching plus quality relationships or sexuality, sacred sexuality. So then Tantra will be the best option for you. If you, for example, want to create a program of many different sessions, many different topics, or you want to create many different workshops with many different topics, then Tantra will be the method for you. But if you say, no, something more straightforward that is supporting them to raise this energy, so holosomatic energy, okay? The event is in Brighton. Is it going to be indoors or outdoors or both? Only indoors in May in Brighton. It's going to be in a hotel, in DoubleTree Hotel in Brighton, and then we spend the 3 days, and it's going to be super powerful. Yeah, it's going to be similar to the one we had in July in London. Yes, Linda. Yes. Yeah, and Anna-Marie is saying they are never the same. It's true, they are never the same. So if you join, for example, one of our workshops last weekend, and you joined one year ago, you know that is super different. We are always innovating. I love innovation. I love bringing new things all the time. So you're going to find always innovation in the on-site workshops, on-site events, and city retreats. So what you're going to experiment in Brighton is going to be very different. And Cecilia is asking, I have trained in breathwork already, so would I be better doing the Tantra training now? So I think both of them could be a good fit for you. If you want to go into more embodiment and work more like with people, talking to them, giving them different tools, doing some, let's say, Tantra coaching with them, creating different workshops where you can combine breathwork together with Tantric practices, eye gazing, for example, connecting to the person in front of them, or couples work. So that would be Tantra. If you want to say, no, I want to create a very powerful, I want to have a very powerful method where people are going to feel so much, they're going to transform so much in terms of feeling sensations, connecting to the energy, activating the energy, then breathwork and holosomatic energies. Also, you know, it's the intensity that you want to do in your, you want to offer in your sessions. And yeah, I think, okay, any more questions? I love answering your questions, guys. And I love seeing your faces here. I see Regina, I see Cassia, I see Alberto, I see Anna Maria always smiling. I see you guys, so happy to see you. Any other questions before we close, because we are closing now? So in case you want to join one of our programs, the holosomatic energy or the Tantra, any of the facilitator programs, know the unlock your full potential. I can tell you, we have now a coupon code, and this coupon code is at the moment for only this week. I'm not sure if we are going to extend it, but it's a 300 euros discount, and you can use it for any payment method. It's Mary 300s for any of the programs. Okay, it can be maybe that you say I pay the deposit or I pay a monthly payment, and then it's going to be a very, very small amount of money that you are paying right now. I know that you are spending a lot of money in gifts and you are getting ready for Christmas. So some of you already spent all your money in Black Friday. So yeah, this coupon code can help you. If you have any questions after this call, please come to us, come to Ana Maria. If you want to schedule a call with Ana Maria, because Ana Maria is having calls with you guys in case you are having questions, in case you really don't understand which path is right for you, please schedule a call with us on the website, and yeah, to know more about what we are doing. And I want to say thank you for being here today. Thank you for your questions. Thank you for your energy, for your smiles today. I'm really looking forward to meeting you in person and also online in the programs. And I'm sure, you know, there are many things going on in the world right now. There are many things really horrible that are happening. Probably we are not in a really great moment. And I think we need more light. We need more of these practices, and we need to bring. And my mission is to share everything I have learned in the last years and to give you a method that is going to work, that works very well, that works for many people, and share it with you. Share as much as I can from me to share it with you so that we can change the world. Because if we are not the ones who are changing the world, who is going to change it? Thank you so much for being here. I hope to see you soon. Thank you, thank you, thank you.